lot of fans, a lot of points, a lot of players got time. What were the biggest takeaways for you? What were the most important things you think your team did on Saturday?
Well, one of the things we focused on was trying to put the ball in the end zone after we kicked so many field goals, and so I thought we were efficient with that. Again, we can still improve in every area of the game. It was great to get some guys in the game that worked so hard there in the week of practice to get them some game time. That's always nice to see. I thought the crowd was great. I thought there was a lot of energy in the stadium. Nice to be at home, and but now we're on to the next one and conference play.
Yeah, in conference play, and the teams in the conference are going to have to spend a little more time in film study after some of the stuff you put on film Saturday night. Little trickery with Jalen throwing the pass, with the two-point conversion. Was that just because the defense gave you certain looks, or was that intentional that you wanted to go a little deeper that week?
No, it was just certain looks, that you get, and like I say, every week is different. Certain things are there, and so, it's nice to. Sometimes you run special plays in practice, but you never get to them in the game. So it's nice. I think the kids get excited when you can do something like that, and it's successful. So, but that was very well executed and really good throw, and but yeah, it's every week there's a lot of plays, and we get to some we don't, type of thing. So, just really kind of what the game situation is about at that time.
And Nevada's 0-4, but the Wolfpack was up 17-0 at halftime against Texas State Saturday. What makes Nevada dangerous?
Play really hard. They're very well coached. Play really hard. They take a lot of pride in what they do. They always have. And like you said, it was 17-0, for a while. And so, conference play every week is you got to bring your A game every week in the conference. It's just people are extra motivated, for conference play, and so you're going to get everybody's best shot.
Coach, you were able to get some players in the game late that haven't played a whole lot. Just did anything stand out about their performances or any storylines you were happy to see someone get in there?
No, I'm not anything specifically, just kind of all of them, because they work so hard during the week. And, to be able to get into the game and play, it's always exciting to see that. And, so any and all of them that got a chance to play was really excited for them. And they did a nice job of playing hard. And, it's hopefully to try to build some depth at some point, because you're going to need it through the season. It's a long season. And so nice to see some of those guys get some game action.
We saw the starters just about right out the Arizona State game. When's the trigger moment where you decide to go with the twos?
I don't know if there's any real trigger moment. Just kind of a feel on how it's going, and, things like that. There's no real, hey, we're at this point, it's time, it's just really by feel, see what's happening in the game.
Is there something you're seeing from Nevada the last couple of weeks that they've improved from the earlier film?
Well, we're in the process right now of just watching them, and yesterday and today watching them, and it's evident they play very hard, and they do some really good things, and so we're going to have a great week of practice and preparation, and come out and play our best, as in every conference game. But Nevada, every time we play Nevada, it's, they have a lot of pride and they do a good job. They're very well coached. So it's going to be a challenge for us.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
You mentioned they have a lot of pride. Do you think there's a danger in playing a team that's lost 14 games in a row, knowing that they'll be hungry for that first win in a while?
Well, I didn't even know that, to tell you the truth. I just see what's on film, and have respect for everybody we play. And I've been doing this a long time, and there's been every game, if you're not ready to play in any game, any and every game that's on our schedule, you run the chance of not being successful. And this is no different, at all. So I know they'll be motivated to play. And like I said, we're going to have a great week of preparation and play our best.
What do you think about being ranked number 25, and how does that raise the profile and visibility of this team?
It really doesn't mean anything right now. All this stuff's really at the end of the year is what matters. Our team's played hard and done a good job, but we're just now starting conference, and really, it's when you're 4-0, that can be even more challenging than 1-4, because of expectation and everybody patting you on the back and all that type of thing. And, it's human nature to get in your comfort zone. And so we have to do our best to stay out of that, so we're just going to go to work each week, one day at a time, and just try to continue to get better every week.
And lastly, you told me on Saturday that you gave Elijah Gilliam a scholarship. How did that conversation go down, and how did you make room for him to be on scholarship?
Well, I usually keep one scholarship for this type of situation, or through camp there's a transfer or something like that. So we usually try to keep one, and there was one there, and perfect fit for him, who has played a lot for us, has been an impact player for us, who's been very deserving. So it was a pretty short conversation. He doesn't say a whole lot, and so he was thankful and pleased, but he deserved it, and so happy that he's able to be the guy that's getting it this year. Yep.
Morning, Coach. When you talk about it might be tougher to be 4-0 than 1-4 and expectations, is that something you address with the team about tempering those, or do you guys just go about business as usual?
I already did. Yeah. Yesterday we did in the team meeting of, just that, you're on both sides of it, and no matter what it is, it's always challenging, and we have to remember the young people and when you're 4-0, people patting you on the back and that type of thing and saying good things all the time. I mean, it's challenging, and so we just have to make sure that we stay grounded and know what it takes to be successful each week, and that we're going to get everybody shot, and we just have to keep that focus in mind, on what it takes to win a football game is very difficult, and it all happens through preparation. And we take a day off of preparation or get a little bit, comfortable, then we're going to get bit by it, so it's just really important for our kids to understand that.
Coach, when you score 53 points, obviously the ball gets spread around a lot. Jalen Moss had a huge game on Saturday, and most fans probably hadn't heard his name much this season. You had a great view of his one-handed catch in the end zone. So anything you'd like to say about his individual performance and the chemistry he has with Mikey now?
It was great to see him break out, because he's matured so much and worked so hard in practice. And so it's really nice to see that he was involved and had some success. The one-handed catch was great. I was more focused on the pass interference at the time. They had his jersey pulling it, and so I was getting ready. I was getting ready to talk to the official about that. But what a catch! It was a big play for him, and nice to see him. Anytime a young player who has worked so hard and come through the ranks like he has, to have some success is really important, and I hope that just gives him more confidence to just keep improving.
In a game like that where you guys didn't punt, I'm curious, do you have a conversation with Carson throughout the game? I mean, does he just kind of stand there and cheer on everybody? Like, what's it like with the specialists when the punt team never has to come on the field?
I don't know. I don't really even pay attention to that. It's kind of after the game where I don't really think about did we punt or didn't we punt or, things like that. Till after the game when you see it, and, so he should be well rested. And, but it was it was an efficient effort by the offense to convert some third downs and put the ball in the end zone. But yeah, I mean it's nice not to have to punt, you know, and not because of turnovers. There's some times where it works out where you're turning the football over and you're not punting, and so that wasn't the case. So you know, we can't expect that every week, but he's actually been doing a really good job. I'm really impressed with Carson's improvement through the week of practice.
And then lastly from me, Coach, I probably should have asked this question before they got their butts kicked over the weekend, but I'm curious to get your take on Deion Sanders and the impact that he's had on college football, the transfer portal. Everybody's been talking about him for a few weeks. So and any insight there, any opinion from you?
No, not really. I mean, it's you know, it's evident Deion's done a great job, you know, just with the excitement that he's created, you know, what he's done with the team, you know, big turnaround with the team. So have to give him a lot of credit for what he's done and the energy he's brought to college football. And you know, so where he coached before, they had a lot of success, and now they're having success. So they're doing something right there. So you have to give him a lot of credit for that. No, I wouldn't say so. I'm always concerned about everything. Every week I'm concerned about every single aspect of our team and our game, you know. And we have really good kids. I do know that. And they work really hard, and they're going to play really hard. I have a lot of confidence in that. But you just never know week to week. And, you know, you see some young guys come along, which is nice to see. You know, like new safeties who hadn't played before are doing a good job, and some of the new receivers are doing a good job. And so, you know, so they've matured a lot, and really it's through hard work that they've done that. But still, we have to continue to get better each and every week. We have a lot of room for improvement. Well, we talked about it that week, but, you know, really we haven't talked about it since then. That seems like a long time ago. But, you know, we don't really touch on that. I think it's more just the importance of preparation. You know, no matter who we play each and every week, it's the importance of preparation. Not throwing it back at, you know, look what happened or anything, because I give Eastern Washington a lot of credit. They did a great job, you know, so I'm not discounting what they did at all, because they really did a nice job. But it's our preparation each week on whoever we play. You know, it doesn't matter who we play. You know, it's all about our standards and what we have to do every week to be able to try to be successful. You know, I don't really know. I really haven't had a conversation with our AD in probably 3 months, so I don't know where that is at all. But you know, I don't really get involved in that right now. You know, that's for other people to deal with right now. We just have to try to do our job and try to win as many games we can possibly win, and you know, let everything else play out. You know, there's so many moving pieces to it that it's just I don't stay on top of it enough to know. You know, because we're right in the thick of the season, and so, you know, I'm sure people in the conference offices are doing, you know, whatever they need to do. I do know we have a very special conference. We have a very strong conference, and so I would say that we can compete for sure. A lot of teams in our conference can compete at that level, no doubt about it. And I think that's proven over time. So I think we have a very strong conference and should definitely have the seat at the table, whatever that table may be. All right, thank you.
Morning.
Morning, Coach. I feel like we've asked you this question a couple of times about a player facing either his former team or his hometown. Did you get a sense of what it meant to Dean Clark to go up against the team that he played for the last 3 years?
A little bit. Dean is kind of a cool, calm, collected type of mature guy, but I could tell that it was important for him to come out and play well. I think that's kind of human nature. And he did play a very strong game, was flying around the field, made 5 or 6 tackles. We were pleased with the way he played. But he didn't have a lot of opportunities in the pass game. We really didn't overall. They didn't throw the ball very much. So, but I know it was important for him to play well, and he did.
When you sat here last week, you talked about the donuts that the team got for keeping Arizona State off the scoreboard. And obviously the defense played phenomenally, forcing 8 turnovers. Were you surprised that there were no turnovers at all in a game that was 53-10?
Well, sometimes you get into games like that. Like I said, I think they only threw the ball 15 times, and a lot of the passes that they did throw were not down the field. They were quick throws out on the perimeter, that type of thing. So, we just didn't have that opportunity. Hopefully we'll get back to it again this week. We would like to get multiple turnovers every week. But, our offense did such a great job controlling the ball, moving the ball, scoring touchdowns. It was a great effort on their part. So we just got settled down there and played good defense in the second half. Really good defense, and it was a good team win overall.
Coach, being in year 2 now here, what's it like getting ready for a Nevada team and having some familiarity with some opponents going forward?
Well, it's a little different because the players change so much. It's not like this is a team where you're very familiar with a lot of their players. I'm looking at the roster yesterday, and you see multiple transfers up and down their offense. In the skill positions, the quarterback. So you're not seeing the same exact style or the same type of scheme even to a large extent. So we just take the volume of work they've done so far. They've already played 4 games, so we got a pretty good handle on what they're doing this year, both personnel-wise and scheme-wise, and we'll base our plan on that.
Yeah, what does stand out about what they're doing so far this year?
The quarterback is a very, very strong runner, both design runs, and he's got real natural escapability to get away from the rush. I think they've only been sacked 7 times in 4 games, and a lot of that has to do with him getting out of trouble. And the backup also is a good athlete and an elusive guy, so we've seen both of them play. I think that aspect of it, the quarterback run game is an issue that we're going to have to prepare hard for. They've got good skill players. Their running backs, they've got transfer running backs, one from Cal, one from Oregon, and they're both very strong, quick, fast players. So each week's a new challenge, and you just start from square one. And we're going to be sitting down this afternoon as a staff and starting to formulate our plan.
I think Bulldog fans are used to seeing that pistol offense from Nevada, but how are they running their quarterback and how it compares to what you're seeing from other teams?
They do run more pistol. It's a mix. It's not exclusively pistol like it used to be with Coach Alt there for a long time, and very unique. But they have option phases. They've got power type runs with the quarterback. Although that's not, I wouldn't say that that's exclusively what they're doing. They're as much a typical shotgun running attack as they are a quarterback running scheme. So, it's a little different than what they've been in the past.
Coach Coyle, is there anyone that's really stood out to you in terms of improvement from week 1 to week 4?
We've got a lot of guys that have improved. The one thing I'm very pleased about is the fact that from the first week till now, we're a much better defense than we were. A much deeper defense with the fact that we've been able to play a lot of players here early in the season, which is going to help us as we get into the conference schedule. But I think Gabriel Lightfoot is a guy that's gotten better inside. You may not see it all the time, but he's a very strong, powerful guy that's holding the point in there, doing a good job. We have some other veterans in there that have all played well. We're excited about. Ray Scott the other night had a very, very good game, and we were really pleased to see that. So I can't say that there's just one guy that has just surprised us or anything, but I think the fact that we've gained depth in the secondary with multiple guys playing. Cam Braca had a really solid game the other night. So it goes across the board at every level. We've had players that are stepping up, and that's a good thing.
And I just wanted to ask about Clark. He's been on the field the most of any defensive player. Is there a reason for that? Is he just that reliable back there at safety?
Yeah, he's pretty dependable, and kind of is somewhat the quarterback of the defense back there. And he's proven that we can do a lot of things with him. He's very smart. He communicates well, so he kind of is a little bit of the glue that keeps everything together back there.
Coach, you've had 2 home games now this year. Have you felt the crowd's impact on any of those pivotal defensive plays or moments where it was actually palpable?
That's a good question. Upstairs in the box, you don't really feel it as much as you do down on the sideline, to be quite honest with you. I'm not. We'd love to play at home. We appreciate the crowd's enthusiasm, and we got to give them things to cheer for and get excited about. I thought we started out strong, then we had a little lapse, and that was partly because of what they were doing, and then we had a couple of series where we just didn't fit the run game exactly right, but we were able to come back off of that, and we had a 4th down stop in the game the other night, which was big, and I know the crowd was into that one. Hopefully we can give them the type of things that get the crowd excited, and that's making big plays on defense, making big stops. We got the lead, and the lead was big, but you realize in the second half when you go back and look at it, there was only 1 first down in the second half. And I don't know if I've been in many games where that has happened over the years. They didn't have a lot of plays, but we were stopping them consistently when we were out there. And that was with our, in the backups in the entire 4th quarter really played well. And that was a good sign, because sometimes you get in games like that where you get a lead and you're able to play a lot of players, and then things get a little ragged at the end. But that did not happen. Our backups played very, very well.
And you mentioned, having some issues early with the fit in the run game. That's what I was going to ask you about, because they ran for 123 yards in the first half.
Yep.
That was Coach's comment at halftime. We need to solve some problems there.
Mm-hmm.
They only got 6 rushing yards in the second half. Mm-hmm. What's the secret sauce to those adjustments, to making them work that way?
It's usually adjustments are a little overrated. I'm gonna say that to you. There's not as much time at halftime to revamp everything that you do, but we kind of got a little bit of a handle towards the end of the first half about how they were trying to attack us in the run game. what we could try to do to negate some of the problems we were having. And then we talked about it at halftime. And I think part of it was their style, and part of it was our guys trying to do a little too much. The ball, their run game was a slow developing, the quarterback would ride the football in the back would get it and not hit the hole very quickly, and we had guys, the timing wasn't like what you're normally practicing against or playing against. So I think that affected us early on, and we were getting thick on a lot of blocks, and then all of a sudden the ball would squirt to the perimeter, and they had not better speed than we thought. We thought they were fast. They proved they were fast. They got around the edge on us a few times and picked up some nice yardage there. But we fixed that a little bit with our alignment and some of the calls we made, and fortunately that helped us in the second half.
And last question, is your feel and maybe your level of aggression as a play caller going into this conference opener any different from week one because of what we've seen, because of the confidence you have in their execution, and because of the depth you've developed?
Well, we like to be aggressive, that's for sure. At times we haven't been as aggressive as maybe I would have liked to, but that stems from how teams look at you and then try to attack you. For example, this past game, we had them in 3rd and long twice very early in the game, and they ran draws on both third downs. So you don't necessarily want to be selling the ranch, blitzing, and all of a sudden they pop a draw play for 20 yards for a first down. But that's an indication of teams, I think, not wanting to put themselves on offense in situations that you can be real aggressive. So it's each week it's a little different. We certainly go into every game with a lot of different pressures out of different looks. We also have a lot of different disguises that might show pressure and not come. So we'll pick and choose as we go, but certainly we want to pressure the quarterback and make the quarterback uncomfortable. That's one of our main goals. Great.
Coach, I just have a feeling that Saturday night was fun. Can you describe the level of fun or satisfaction you had in seeing so many guys get involved in so many different ways?
Yeah, it was fun. It was. I think probably the most fun I had, though, a couple of plays, really kind of stand out just as far as seeing the guys celebrating together, getting excited for each other. That was probably the coolest part for me. Was just kind of I felt like just the whole team, not just offense, just the whole team played just inspired and played with a ton of energy. And Tim Greer had his first catch, and I mean I could hear it through the headsets, on the sideline. The guys getting so excited for him, So just things like that. That was fun.
And, I mean, a lot of guys had big moments. Jalen Moss, career game. I mean, Trey Watson gets his first touchdown ever, so many different things. But was there any more significant development than the consistency you saw from the O-line?
Well, first of all, I was shocked that was Trey Watson's first touchdown. that one that surprised me. I had no idea until Sunday. But no, I mean, I think that the O-line, kind of did what we had to do, and I thought that just overall they've been consistent all season. I mean, when we've had to run the ball, or when we've handed the ball off, I should say, we've been pretty effective running the ball. So that's been encouraging.
Coaches, I just want to get your overall impressions of Nevada so far in the early part of the week.
They played really hard. They have, kind of just on every level, the defense. They've got guys that play really hard. They got a linebacker. I mean, he just kind of always gets around the ball. They've got another one that I think he's recovered a fumble in every single game. Just another one that just kind of finds the ball and always ends up there. On the back end, they're physical. You know, I think that's probably the message that, you know, the receivers are going to hear is, you know, they're physical on the back end. So, you know, overall, you know, and I know Coach Coyle mentioned it just as far as kind of the transfers piece. You know, you look at the roster, and it's not necessarily the exact same guys you played against last year, but there's a lot of continuity, at least schematically, from what they were doing last year. And so, yeah, I think overall they play really hard, especially up front. Like those guys up front, you know, our O-line's it's gonna be a 4-quarter game for those guys.
Schematically, what are they doing that's maybe different or similar from what you've seen this season already?
It's generally the same stuff, you know. I mean, they'll have I'm sure some game plan, you know, whether it's pressures or, you know, whatever for us, just kind of off of maybe what we've done. But generally, it's this very similar to what we saw last year, just for these first 4 games.
Coach, I noticed the downfield shots and Mikey going deep to Moss and going deep to Brooks. Was that just what Kent State was showing you, or was that kind of something that you just asked Keen to do because you can?
Well, I mean, you know, the reality is we just connected on them. I think that's why everybody sees them. You know, I mean, I would say, you know, we probably called just as many in every single game. You know, it's just we actually connected on them, you know, and so that is probably a little bit what we were getting, you know, but there's been times, you know, in other games where we've just missed the shots, you know, and so, you know, just in the grand scheme of things, it's more noticeable when you complete them, you know, and so that's been something, you know, I went into it just saying I'm going to call them early, you know, that was, you know, I wasn't going to wait on it, you know, and that was probably as much a little bit more of a message to our guys, you know, as it was just off of them. Like, no, we're not sitting back and waiting to take these shots. You know, we're going to do it early. We're going to do it often, because that was the intentional part on my part.
And the fact that we did notice them says a lot about the quarterback who improved from missing them a couple weeks ago. He told me on Saturday that he really likes being in Fresno. What do you like about working with this quarterback every day, Mikey Keene?
I mean, he's really mature. You can have like real conversations with him, you know, like, I mean, it's, you know, he's fun personality, but football is so important to him, you know, and just that's where, you know, you just every day, I mean, you know, he'll text me, hey, you know, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I mean, he just, football is so important to him. But at the same time, you can have like real life conversations, and it doesn't have to all be football, and he's just from a maturity standpoint.
And the last thing for me, Mac Delana, a lot of those yards he had were yards after catch. I just can't help but notice most of the plays you run for him kind of use his legs, where he has a lot of room to run after he catches the ball.
Yeah, and a good example of it, you know, just even going back to the downfield shots thing, you know, we've had some stuff where, you know, he's been the vertical shot and maybe the ball goes somewhere else. So, again, you don't necessarily see that part of it. But at the same time, you know, I knew that there was a couple of things that we were running on Saturday that, you know, Mac had a chance to get out and run with it, you know. So it's absolutely something that just trying to use the fact that, I mean, he has some, like, real legit juice, you know, when he gets the ball in his hands.
Coach, I know you don't call plays or design plays with the fans in mind, but everyone gets excited when they see a trick play. Can you take us through the week when you guys were practicing that play with Jalen and with Elijah, and then from that point to the execution on Saturday?
Yeah, so I believe we put it in on Wednesday. We were looking at really the short yardage stuff, and Arkansas had ran something similar where they ran the quarterback on it. And so I'm looking at them like, man, if they react this way, then that play is there. And then I was like, well, with Jalen Gill at quarterback, that's their normal quarterback. We put Jalen Gill there, they're for sure going to react, you know, aggressively to it. So, you know, we put it in, we executed it. Jalen Gill can throw the ball. And then it was funny because on Friday, you know, you only get so many reps on Friday. You know, it's a little bit shorter practice, and we actually threw it incomplete. It's like, no, bring it back, run it back, run it back. I'm a basketball guy at heart, you know, and so I was like, you never end on a miss, you know, and so we actually ran it again. We were not gonna have our last time running it going into the game being incomplete. So, yeah, and then just as far as kind of the flow of it, you know, we got the ball on the left hash, And I actually said right before we took the field, I said, hey, let them know if we get the ball in the right hash that play is coming. And then it ended up working out very, very first play. We end up throwing the ball over to Eric Brooks, ends up on the right hash. And I already knew I was going there as soon as we got on the right hash. So, and then I guess the other thing I'm going to take this opportunity. If you're somebody, you look at all these guys hitting the portal and all that. We got a skill set. We got to use it. Jalen Gill can throw the ball. If you got a skill set, we're going to use it.
Coaches, and you've said this before too, always talk about reacting to what the opposing team gives you. Looking back on it, it of course worked, but how surprised were you that you didn't run a single run play for, it was like the second play of the third possession? Like your whole first two possessions were all pass plays. I'm assuming you didn't go into the game expecting that.
Yeah, and some of those were called runs that we threw it on. But that's kind of the nature of it, is when you tag potential throws onto run plays, you got to be prepared for the ball to get thrown, and so that was probably the main thing with that is that, some of them were designed runs, but if they gave us free access to something, we were going to throw it, and it's kind of the second week in a row that Mikey accessed those, pretty frequently.
Coach, I know Mikey's performance against Purdue was pretty locked in and pretty solid, but if you had to grade the overall performance, just execution on the plays that were called and the adjustments that he made, would he have graded out higher against Kent State than even Purdue?
Yeah, I think that the main point of emphasis to that question would just be the overall efficiency. We missed some throws against Purdue, or we missed some opportunities against Purdue at times, and there wasn't a lot of misses on Saturday. Maybe incomplete here and there. I want to say he's like 77% or something like that. He wasn't perfect, but it wasn't like we're sitting there going like, oh my gosh, man, if we let them off the hook with this one, we let them off the, which Purdue, there was a couple where, I think that he would want some of those throws back, and and I'm sure he wants some of the plays back from Saturday, but it wasn't quite the same way.
And then if you were grading yourself, was this maybe your best performance as an OC?
Yeah, I would say yes. I just was probably a little more patient, just as far as especially in the red zone. But I also look at like the players showed up. At the end of the day, the players showed up, and they're the ones that executed it. And it doesn't matter how good your play calls are. It really doesn't if it's not executed, and the players are the ones that did it. I look at it like that, and I look at it the week before. We moved the ball up and down the field last week against Arizona State. We just struggled in the red zone. Point of emphasis this week was to be better in the red zone, but I just think overall the players executed at a really high level.
It's a doozy. Coach, you dropped us a hint there. You said you're a basketball guy. Today's the first day of practice for Fresno State basketball for this school year. You have any eligibility left, and what can you tell us about your game?
Officially retired. I've hung it up when it comes to basketball. I'm not going to lose an Achilles to that, but I could play a little bit.
Like you'd slash into the basket, pulling up from mid-range, what?
Yeah, slasher and streaky shooter.
Thanks, Coach.